We all love the warm weather and all the fun that comes with it. Sunny days of swimming, hiking, and cooking out are fun, but they come with some risks.
This morning, we have some tips on how to keep you and your family safe this summer. We're joined by Dr. Armin Tehrany, founder of Manhattan Orthopedic Care and an NYPD honorary surgeon. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thanks so much.
So it's like we just said in the intro, it's so much fun. Everybody wants to be outside, but there are some risks. Starting with swimmer's shoulder. What exactly is that?
Swimmer's shoulder is just an overall term for having impingement syndrome, which means wear and tear that you get on the top of the shoulder from overuse. And it commonly happens in swimmers in the summertime because oftentimes they're not swimming so much in the winter, in the fall, in the spring, and when the summer hits, that's when they start overdoing it.
So what should they keep in mind? Kind of slowly start, not just think they're going to start swimming miles at a time?
Exactly. And so the first thing to remember is if they haven't swam all throughout until the summertime, you can't go from first gear to eighth gear all of a sudden and start swimming multiple laps. So the good thing is to ease into it first. And if you start to notice that it starts bothering you during swimming, slow down a little bit, do a little bit less, but don't stop. And also pay attention to your form.
A lot of people going to the beach this summer, and that could come with other different injuries, especially on the knee. What are some things for people to keep in mind when they're on the beach doing activities?
So on the beach, a lot of times people love to start running. And they're not used to running on the sand. The sand's very uneven as opposed to a regular track that they'll be on or a treadmill. And so it's going to be important for them to understand to also go carefully and slowly and also be aware of the fact that if they do too much running on that uneven surface, it can start to hurt the knee, especially right around the kneecap. And so just important for them to pace themselves and pay attention to what they're doing.
How about the playground? You know, parents get so excited, especially when they have like little sprinklers coming up and the kids are running around like crazy, but I'm sure that can be risky.
It can, especially, for example, on the slides when someone's got a newborn or a young kid and they want to both be on the slide themselves. The slides aren't meant for that. And so the best thing for them to do is to just bring the kid up as high as they can so they can hold their hand on their way down in order to prevent them from getting injuries.
And then Little League, a lot of kids in Little League this summer especially, and the elbow. What are you seeing in terms of children? I mean, it seems like that's an adult injury, but I've read that surgeons are seeing more and more injuries at the elbow in children. Are you?
Yeah. So what happens is Little League elbow, for example, is a condition where the growth plate of that part of the elbow is getting damaged. And the reason it's getting damaged is because of overuse. These kids are playing 12 months out of the year, and they're not really giving their elbow a break. And so the best thing to do for the parents is to understand, give your kid a good 3 to 6 months off from throwing to give their elbow a chance to grow properly. And if they get injured, don't worry. Just come get it checked out. It's usually something that heals on its own.
Oh, well, that's good.
So during the summertime, what are some of the most common injuries that come into you and come into the ER?
Yeah. A lot of times we'll see things like overuse throwing injuries where they'll get labrum tears. Sometimes they can even get meniscus tears because they're running too much or injuring themselves. But more often than not, it's just tendonitis and just hamstring pulls and things like that. So the thing that I try to teach for people is enjoy the weather, but don't overdo it just because of the fact that you've been in the cold for so long.
And you were telling us you have 2 little girls. So what are some of the parenting tips that you keep in mind when you're with your girls?
Yeah. What I tell them is to go slow and steady into whatever you want. Come talk to your dad because he's an orthopedic surgeon. You choose what you choose, and just have fun.
Great
Thank
advice,
you very much, Doctor.
Thanks.